order to analyze the relationship between leadership and power, firstly, we need to define the two concepts. We have already talked about leadership as a social phenomenon which predicates movement, a person pushing others to act or think something that alone they would not do or they would hardly do. Power would be the ability to execute changes or to resist to changes. It can stay in a latent potential state, never being exercised. For power becoming action, it must be exercised. Related to this aspect, power may seem similar to leadership, that may be just potential, not being exercised. But power can have different origins in comparison with leadership. While leadership seems to be a characteristic of a person or group of persons linked to individuals, their personalities, and their behaviors, power may have its origins in material aspects such as money, economic power, hierarchy, political power, force, military power, and so forth. There is no doubt that leadership and power are correlated concepts, but they are distinct, despite the existence of some similar aspects, as the already mentioned potential or latent state. When power is subtler, inspiring people, inducing and not coercing them to act in a certain way, it may be jumbled with leadership. For example, when Gandhi led India to its independence from the British Empire in the beginning of the 20th century, he did not have formal power, be economical, political, or military, but he had a type of power which could be classified as moral that inspired numerous followers. He was a leader and exercised this moral power. More than searching for power directly, this example seems to indicate that an individual should look for being a leader first, and then power would come as a consequence. The inverse is not always true. For example, several governors in the world have political power and frequently military and economic powers as well, as they are the main representatives of their countries. But individually, they are not real leaders, according to the definition we are adopting here. It is said that the world today desperately needs new leaders, that inspiring leaders are in shortage in many areas of our society, be in politics, be in science, or in other areas. But power is always present, usually in its most material form, as force. One can also consider that absolute power associated to inspiring leadership is extremely dangerous, as it links abundant means to ends not necessarily noble. History is full of these cases. Power may be a natural consequence of the leadership exercise. A leader conquers power. However, it's in moments of crisis that the leaders are really tested and known, because the ones who have power but are not leaders seldom overcome a great crisis. We'll discuss this topic in our next video. Until then,